Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the Gnarly Gnome. This is the Weekly Pint. This is the show where we hang out together and we take a dive through whatever is happening in our lives, in Cincinnati beer and Cincinnati drinking culture, drinking world, whatever you want to call it. This is where we drink together. It's a happy hour. We hang out. We open up some kind of a drink. It can be anything. It could be beer. You could open a bottle of wine. You could mix up a little cocktail for yourself. It doesn't really matter. The important part is that we hang out together and we do it together. If you are listening to the live stream, welcome. Jump on the chat wherever you happen to be watching this. I'll pull the chat up on the screen here in a second. If you happen to be watching this after the fact on YouTube or Facebook or listening to the podcast stream, still welcome, but it's more fun if you do it live with us. I get that we can't always do that, but the point is to hang out together, so it's more fun. Julia says that every 10 minutes I'm late with the Weekly Pint. She adds another page to the Cincy Beer events calendar. Marco is having a Celebration IPA. Do tell us what you're drinking in the chat, by the way. Julia cracked open another old Fezziwig. I have not had one yet this year. However, I'm going to drink a Christmas beer, but I haven't cracked it open yet. But I've not had old Fezziwig this year. I want one. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I was going to drink. Oh, I think it's upstairs. I wonder if I can convince my... I'll call her. I'll call my wife and see if she can bring it down. I was going to drink a Christmas beer, but Julia gave me a seltzer last week that I was going to drink that I completely forgot about. Josh says it's a good beer. Grace is drinking last Fest beer. Let's call my wife real quick and see if she will bring me a seltzer. I'm assuming that this works. It does not look like it's working. Hang on, you're not working. Oh no. Can you hear me? Yes. There is a seltzer in the fridge upstairs. Okay. Is there any way that you could bring that down to me?
Yeah, sure. Am I on the air right now?
Kind of. Not really. It's not coming through the board, but.
Okay. All right. I'll get it in 1 second.
Thank you.
Bye.
I wonder why that's not working. I've been trying to get the it's making some kind of noise here. Trying to get the drunk line back up and running for you guys, and evidently it's not. Well, I'm trying to think of what. Let's pull up this app. This should give me an idea. Well, that looks like it's working. Huh. Okay, I don't know. No idea why it didn't work. If you call into the drunk line, I may answer it, I may not. Let's go ahead and pull the chat up for you guys. It's always something with this show, isn't it? Oh, goodness. I was going to crack open this oatmeal raisin cookie from Alexander Brewing Company. I'll crack it open sometime. Maybe I'll do an old school Prost episode for you guys where we drink it. And I guess if I'm drinking a seltzer, you don't really need a glass for it, right? What is the proper seltzer etiquette? If anybody knows, please inform me, because I have no idea. I don't know how you're supposed to drink seltzers. We do have some stuff that I want to cover this week, but I want to crack open my drink first. We are headed into one of the biggest stout weeks of the year, with Dark Charge coming up on Saturday. Thank you. This is not the one I was thinking of. There it is. She's so good. So thank you, honey. The first thing she handed me, which these are great too. This is. She just yelled, "Don't drink it! It's her last one." This is Astra's apple fritter. This is like her new favorite fall thing, and she doesn't really give them to me, so I'm surprised she brought it to me. I'm gonna drink it and make her mad. I can just get her more tomorrow, right? No, this was the one that I was talking about. Marco says you might need a straw for that seltzer. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. Not at all. I kind of love the artwork, the black on black, as you guys know from a lot of the merch that I've been kind of testing out over the last God knows how long. This is from Untitled Art. It is Black Seltzer. It's a collaboration with Bottle Logic, I believe. It says Black Seltzer, Obsidian Onyx, Midnight, Lost Soul, Rolling Blackout, Sleeping Panther, Void by Armani. I love the black tops. I've been, if we can go down a little rabbit hole here, I've been going through my can collection. I have a lot of beer cans that I've collected over the years. At one time, I thought it was going to be smart to collect every can that every Cincinnati brewery released. It didn't seem crazy at the time because there weren't many. Over the years, that's gotten kind of crazy. And then I've decided to kind of focus that collection now that it's gotten so crazy and just keep lager cans. So I'm only collecting lager cans. However, it's as I'm going through them and recycling and pulling labels off of some of them, that kind of thing, I keep finding cans that I'm like, I don't know if I can get rid of this one. And for a while there, Madtree did these black tops on a couple of theirs, like Rounding Third, the Blood Orange Psychopathy. There were a couple cans that just looked gorgeous with these on them, and I'm having a hard time getting rid of those, so I'll probably hang on to them for a while. All right, this is 7% ABV. Marco says only collect them until they're empty. It is a malt beverage with fruit puree, natural flavors, and certified colors. Certified. They are certified color. Brewed and canned by Untitled Art in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in collaboration with Bottle Logic. Yeah. Thank you to Julia and to Josh for saving this one for me. It is Best by 4/2 of 25. It's in the window, which is rare for me in this house. I feel like I have just so much old beer sitting around at this point. Josh said he just opened a Czech-style dark lager from Westside. That's also sitting over there teasing me. Who knows when I'll get to it. All right, I'm going to put it in a glass because why not? Oh, yeah, that's gross looking. It is dark. I mean, it's purple, dark purple, and exactly, I guess, what a black seltzer should look like. All right, let me get my nose in here. You know, I'm not getting a ton. It's obviously fruit, some berries. Yeah, it's grapey. It's dark fruit. All right. Cheers, everybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually not bad. That's pretty good. It's still light and refreshing, but definitely fruit forward. Yeah, that's just fine. I don't know that I consider that a seltzer. It's not even like as super carbonated as I would expect a seltzer to be. That's just fine. Julia says it reminded her of a combo of Concord grape and a non-tart gadget from Urban Artifact. Yeah, I'm kind of craving a little bit of tartness to it. I think that would make it better, but it's good. It's just fine. It is just fine. It's just what everybody wants to hear about their beer. It's fine. It's not terrible. Doesn't make me want to vomit. It's great great flavor profile notes. Speaking of Urban Artifact, let's go ahead and just dive into things. Urban Artifact did make my news this week. I actually wrote about this one a little bit, which is rare considering how busy I've been and not been able to get things written the way I want to, which is definitely one of the things that I've heard from you guys. If you have not seen the survey that I put out there on Facebook, please feel free to go and take this little survey. It's a little long. It's not terrible. Somebody can chime in and say how long it took them to fill it out, but it kind of it gives you the opportunity to give me some feedback on all of the stuff that I'm doing, which I recognize that there is not a single content platform or thing that I do that I have not dropped the ball on, either royally this year or at least a little bit this year, because of how chaotic things have gotten. But I'm looking to improve things next year and kind of change some stuff around and just get better at all of this. And the best way for me to get better is for you guys to tell me the things that are most important to you, least important to you. Also, to give me an idea of how you're engaging with the content and that kind of thing. Julia says, "How long will the survey be open?" I don't know. But for anybody who hasn't taken it, go to thegnarlygnome.com/survey. I don't know. I haven't even thought that far ahead of how long I'll leave it open. But I am going to make it kind of a yearly thing where I put out a survey so everybody can keep kind of each year telling me what was good, what was not, and we can figure out what the best way to keep moving forward on all of this is. Because there's lots of things that I want to work on, lots of things that I want to kind of change, and I got to make sure that I'm thinking the same way that you guys do. So thegnarlygnome.com/survey will take you right there. Julia says, "We'll tell people to do it on this week's Truth Beer Podsequences, so leave it open through the weekend at least." Yeah, I'm assuming I'll keep it open probably through the end of the year. And I'll probably keep it open through the end of the year. But I've gotten some great feedback on it. And I've actually gotten feedback on Truth Beer Podsequences on your show in my survey. So there's that. I'll pass the feedback on to you guys. I encourage anybody who does any kind of a podcast or anything to every once in a while try to get some honest feedback, because it does help you kind of figure out what people think. So, but every time I do something now, I think about some of the comments that I've gotten, like the show starting 15 minutes late today. One of the comments was definitely that Truth Beer Pods, or that the Weekly Pint never starts on time. So when I'm late, I'm like, oh man, that person's gonna be mad. I understand. I understand all of it. Everybody is right on every comment they make. Let's jump into the news. This is what I was talking about. Urban Artifact with their non-alcoholic fruit tarts. This was something that I think we've all joked about before. I think Urban has joked about it before, that they should just start canning juice. And not that this is just juice. This is much more complicated than that, but it is kind of just sparkling juice. I have not tried them yet. I did add some to my month's order for this month, and it's sitting in the tap room waiting for me to go pick it up, and I have not made it there yet. Like everything in my life. But I think I just got the strawberry because I love strawberry things. So when I do try it, I'll pass on what I think to you guys, because I think that this is such a cool idea. This idea of non-alcoholic beverages in tap rooms and in breweries, I think is absolutely wonderful. It's brilliant. There are so many times that I'm out and I really want to keep drinking, or I want to keep socializing, and I can't keep drinking all day. Because I have to get home, or maybe I have to get up early the next day, or maybe I'm just tired of drinking at that moment. Whatever the reason is, I still want something that gives me that chance, and I don't want it to always be water, because water's boring. And so things like this kind of, give me that thing that I can fill that spot with in my glass, I guess. So excited to try it. Excited to try the hop water from 50 West. Josh says it better be much cheaper though. I don't want to pay $6 for a can of juice. That's the problem with a lot of these, is that they're not going to be cheaper. Non-alcoholic beers, we've already seen that. over and over that they tend to a lot of times be more expensive because of the process that is involved in making them. And I assume that these will be about the same as their beers. However, I could be wrong. They are doing that house line of experimental beers right now in the tap room at Urban that are $5 a pint in the tap room. Maybe this falls along the lines with that. If it's not taking up tank space, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure that the 6 packs were comparable. If I remember correctly, I'll tell you what, we can just pull it right up right now. If I can do it without losing this. There we go. I was real smart and put a mouse in front of me, but I didn't put a keyboard, so it's really hard to let's see, to look stuff up. Where do we think they're putting these in? Their online store. Or are they in their online store yet? There it is. Yeah, it's $10.99 for, I'm guessing, a 6-pack. Yeah, 6-pack of 12 cans for $10.99. So they're comparable. They're the same price as all the other stuff. So there's that. I don't know what a pint costs in the tap room though. Anyways, kind of going on that same thing, the Urban Artifact topic. This is not Urban Artifact. This is Fruit Blood wine. But if anybody doesn't know, Fruit Blood and Urban Artifact are kind of closely related. Josh Elliott used to be the head brewer over there at Urban Artifact, or Barrel Guy. I don't know what his job title was. And he moved over to this new startup called Fruit Blood, which is heavily fruited wine, which that's not a good description of it because all wine is heavily fruited. That's the whole thing of wine. Go to Drinking with the Gnome, the podcast, and there's a Fruit Blood episode over there that you can listen to that will kind of give you a little more information kind of about who they are. But they make a cider that is on tap right now, or has been on tap, at Urban Artifact. That's just called their house cider. And it's phenomenal. It's the only cider that I've had maybe the only cider that I've had, but definitely the only cider that I've had in a very long time that tastes like you're biting into an actual apple. It's freaking delicious. I love it. I love it more than I can begin to tell you. I don't think I've ever had a local cider that makes me want to drink it over beer. And this does. Like, I actually find myself like, oh man, I should go to Urban so I can drink that Fruit Blood cider. And I don't know that this is the exact same cider. I assume so, but I don't know that. And they are canning it. The name is a little confusing. They are calling it Fish Logs. Now, it's not confusing. I know the reference. There was a little bar right there in Northside that used to have fish logs. The guy that owned it passed away a few years back, and so the place closed, and it's been closed ever since. But the fish logs were a Northside staple. However, fish logs is not the super marketable name for a can of cider. I don't think Fruit Blood cares. I don't think that that's their thing. I really don't think they give two shits about what their names do on a shelf. That's not their game. But I'm excited to have it in cans. I want to see more of this from them. I think it's delicious, and would love to see some kind of spins off of just this absolutely phenomenal cider. I love it. If you haven't had it, go get it. Dropping the fish logs of the pool. Marco says, light the fish log for Christmas. Yeah, there's plenty you could say about the name, but it's seriously delicious. Again, I don't know. Fish Logs is delicious. I've not tried this one, but the cider that is on tap at Urban is delicious. So go try that. All right. Moving on from fish logs, I want to talk about this. All kind of ties into the big story that I'll talk about at the end, but some fun events that are happening. I had several of them written down that I wanted to kind of talk about, but I don't want to. I don't want to have 37 stories to hit you guys with. But I do want to talk about this one coming back, the Cincinnati Chris Kindle Market. I recorded a bunch of shows from the Chris Kindle Market last year. That's where we coined the name the Gnome Dome. If you guys have not heard about that, I will probably do something down from Chris Kindle Market this year. I don't think it'll be as crazy as it was last year, where I was recording every single week down there. I think I might record one episode down there, maybe. I will definitely be hanging out there at some point. And for those of you who are part of the Cincy Pod Squad, meaning people who have podcasts, and if you haven't heard the ideas that I have, reach out to me, because I'm working on some fun things that we can do just to kind of celebrate the holidays together from a gnome dome. But the Chris Kindle Market is a little different this year. If you went at all last year, they had a Christmas tree right in the middle, and around that tree they put all of the igloos, the domes that you could rent, and they had kind of like a dome village set up. This year they took all of those and moved them along one side of the Schmidlap event lawn there. Somebody will say it in a second. they built like a boardwalk between them all with like a drink rail that you can kind of stand along and walk. And then next to that, they put a big ice slide in the middle of the event lawn, so you can stand along the boardwalk, watch people going down the slide, watch them wiping out or whatever. Eric says, and the beer poker. Yes. I will have to remember to bring the beer poker. I love the beer poker this time of year. Today was actually a perfect day for it. I should have poked some things. Should be poking something right now. We'll poke something on this show one of these nights. I'll get it out, and we'll. I think we've probably done that before, but in my experience, poking a seltzer does not usually work well. Didn't we try to poke a seltzer when we had our get together last year? I believe when we were hanging out down here at the Gnarly Gnome Tavern, I believe we poked an Urban Artifact seltzer, if I remember correctly. I have tried it, and it just doesn't work good. Even the ones that are loaded with fruit, it just doesn't taste great. Poke the seltzer. I wonder how many times in the history of mankind that sentence has been said. Poke the seltzer. Probably like twice. Anyways, the reason I bring up Chris Kindle Market is because I want to talk about kind of some of the, let's say, a negativity, I guess, that people have been expressing throughout the beer community. And, you know, I'm guilty of this. I think everybody is at some point. And negativity isn't really the right word, but you know, when we have breweries that close, and we did have a couple really big ones close in very recent times with Taft's Ale House, which just had their last day this weekend, I believe, and then right before that, the last day of 50 West. It's sad, and it definitely is painful, especially if you're somebody that has been kind of part of one of those spaces since they opened up. It sucks when they close, and so it's easy to be kind of negative about it and sad. There are a lot of people that will, as soon as they see something like that happen, they jump on this this idea that there's some kind of bubble popping, or beer is collapsing upon itself, or here goes the dominoes ready to fall, whatever it is. And I think I understand where people are coming from with it, but I think it's not thinking the right way about it, because we're still at this point where there are more breweries that are opening than there are closing here in Cincinnati. Now, what those breweries look like is changing, which the artwork that I pulled up is the Tap House, because they're opening this week. But they're obviously looking different than they used to. Even the places that are expanding, like Sonder, most of them are doing smaller, kind of more neighborhood-focused tap rooms versus what we used to see from them. Um, there are some exceptions to that. So, there are places that are growing bigger, but um, uh, you know, just in the last couple months, we've seen what Gravel Road opened, Gilligan's on the Green opened, the Glendale House opened. Bocce Brewing Company opened back in August, and nobody even noticed that they opened. That's inside Gabby's down in Wyoming. Um, they only have a couple beers on tap, but they're open, and they're opening, and they're changed. The beer scene is changing, and the beer scene is evolving, and uh, it's it's exciting still. Like, it's still exciting to see how things keep changing and how beer keeps uh, changing to meet what consumers are doing. And Marco says, "Who dat is? Is that Bocce? Um, is that the question?" So in Wyoming, there is both Gilligan's on the Green, and then pretty much right across the street, there's a little Italian place called Gabby's that's been open forever. That they started making their own beer. They have an amber ale and a double IPA. They're done right now. They're not on tap today, as I learned, because I was going to go there to grab some food and try the new double IPA. Because they're having some carbonation issues, but they're there and they're made. And then there is an Imperial Stout that is coming very soon. They have this goal to change all of their taps over to their beers, and like I think that almost makes me more excited than when a new kind of big brewery opens up, if that makes any sense at all. I think it's fun. I think it's, again, an evolution. It's exciting, and it's exciting to see that happening still here in Cincinnati. So this idea that beer is dying, or the craft beer bubble is a thing, I still think is crazy. I think it's going to look different in 10 years than it did 5 years ago, but I think it's for the better, and I think it's for the better for drinkers, and I think it's for the better for neighborhoods, and it's fun. So that's the big kind of takeaway that I have this week, is just that people need to cool their jets. Again, I get it when a place like Taft's Ale House closes, or 50 West closes their brew pub, which 50 West is not closing. Taft's is not closing. They're just shutting down different parts of their business. And I think that is also important to walk away from, because they're not closing. And that's not to say that there aren't places that have closed, and it's certainly not to say that there aren't places that might close still in the near future. But yeah, cool your jets. That's the I guess the takeaway. I do want to introduce a new segment to this show, because I do kind of travel around and try as many things each week that I can, because there's always new beers to get out there and try. Be them local beers, be them just beers that I see that interest me, that I will grab, and I want to start kind of sharing some of that with you guys a little bit more. Maybe I'll make some theme music. Maybe I'll make a cool little video stinger or something to go with this too. But for now, you just get. For now, you don't get anything, because the artwork's not there. There is no artwork. So never mind. I had a little thing that I thought I made that says something about the best beers of the week. So these are the most exciting things that I have drank this week, or the things that stood out the most to me this week. I should call it like what I'm drinking this week, or something like, I don't know, from the beer tap. So the other night, Drinksgiving is I've heard it called, and I like it. Marcus says I should sing it. I could. um, I was down at 16 Lots the night before Thanksgiving. They had a Prince. Dat band was playing a Prince set, which was fantastic, and with it, I drank a couple beers, and I got to try their new cheesecake sour ale, smoothie sour ale. Anybody that knows me knows that smoothie sours are probably not the thing that I jump to order when I walk into a brewery or a bar. But when I walked in, Dell stuck it in my hand, and I'm certainly not going to tell him that I don't want to order it, because I did want to try it. And it was fantastic. It was delicious. It's called Whole Lots of Cherry Cheesecake Smoothie Sour. Whole Lotsa, get it? 16 Lots. Lotsa. It's a part of a new series that they're doing that's called the Lotsa series, which is just over fruited. I don't know if they're all smoothie sours or just different types of over fruited stuff. I'm not sure. But their description on, I guess, their menu and on Untapped and all that stuff is a devilishly tart and tangy smoothie sour made with real sweet and dark cherries, New York style cheesecake, and marshmallow cream. It's a one-of-a-kind creation. And it was absolutely fantastic. What Chris was saying when I was down there talking to him about it, he said that when they first brewed it, it came out somewhere around, if I'm remembering this correctly, around 9% ABV. And the beer is not 9% ABV right now. It's somewhere around 6. And he said that's because that was all the cherries that they added. They added in the cherries. They added in so many cherries that it watered it down from 9% all the way down to 6%. So that should give you a good, kind of impression of how many cherries are in this. Marco says, Stapleton? No, not Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton was not there. It was a great beer. So that was the first one that I've had this week that really stood out. However, on Thanksgiving, one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving is the beer that you put on your table to pair with your meal. I love beer and food pairings, and Thanksgiving, it was absolutely great. I had a whole bunch of beer, but the very first one I drank that day, not on actual Thanksgiving, this was on the Thanksgiving that we hosted at our house, was a one that had been sitting in the beer cellar here for me, which I know I've talked about how I'm trying to be better about drinking through the beer cellar, so I grabbed a couple beers out of it for Thanksgiving. And the first one was from Anchorage Brewing Company. I don't remember what I paid for this, but I definitely have this distinct memory that it was expensive. I don't know if it was, I don't know how expensive, but I remember the beer being expensive. And it was one of those things that I saw it. You don't see kind of these foeder aged beers from Anchorage Brewing Company down here that often because they're so expensive to ship from Alaska. But when I do, they definitely catch my attention. So I grabbed this one. It's called Bind from Anchorage Brewing Company. I don't think it was 50 or 60. I think it was less than that. It is a mixed fermentation sour, aged in Missouri oak foeders and then finished on hand-picked wild Alaska blueberries and Hascap berries, which I'm very familiar with what a blueberry is, so I can put together in my head what a wild Alaskan blueberry is. I assume they grow in the wild in Alaska. That's great. I know what that is. I know what the flavor is, but a Hascap berry, I have no clue what this berry is. I looked it up just out of curiosity, and they give off a lot of the same flavors that blueberries do, but it's some kind of like honeysuckle or something that makes these berries that then they grow in the northern hemisphere. I don't know, but they're some kind of berries that taste a lot like blueberries. This beer was great though. It was almost like kind of soft, low carbonation, not overly funky, not overly tart. It was tart from the fruit, but it wasn't tart like some of the mixed fermentation beers that you'll see around here can get. It was earthy, and then that fruit comes in at the end with this bright kind of slightly tart, but berry fruit flavor. Really, really great beer. Perfect beer to start the day off because I had a fresh palate. It was great, and that beer just absolutely jumped out at me. It was one of the highlights of the week for sure. The third one, which I think I'm just going to do three because we don't need to sit and talk about what I've been drinking all night long, um, was actually today for lunch. I stopped out at Gilligan's on the Green, which I just talked about, and had some lunch out there. I've been trying a couple things on the menu every time I can get out there just to kind of get a good sense of what they're doing. Which, if you haven't been there, go there and have some food because the food is uh, absolutely fantastic. Everything that I've had has been great. I've only been there twice, so I've had two things. The first time I went out, I had the beef stew, which was just great. Today would have been a really perfect day for beef stew, also because of how cold it was. But I wanted to try something different. So I got boneless wings, which are not that exciting, and I recognize that. But they had a Cincinnati chili dry rub that you could get on them, and as soon as I saw that, I had to try it. So I did, and they were great. They were actually really, really freaking good. They were like these big kind of chunks of chicken instead of just kind of some, crappy frozen chicken chunks. Yeah, but the beef stew was absolutely phenomenal. And with it today, not with the beef stew, with the wings, I had their dry Irish stout, which if you if you go to West Side, you've probably had the dry Irish stout at some point, which I'm assuming is the same beer. They may have tweaked it a little bit since then. Um, in fact, everything that's on tap right now at Gilligan's is still coming from West Side because their brew house is not operational yet. Actually, it's probably operational, but they are not allowed to brew on it yet. I was asking the bartender about it, and she said no, they haven't started brewing here yet. The inspector came out, and evidently the brewer needs an exit and a bathroom before they can open the brewery space. Which, I mean, that's great. I guess you definitely need to give a way to get in and out, and you probably need a bathroom if you're going to be there all day brewing. But it just seemed funny the way it was worded to me that the brewer needs an exit and a bathroom. So they gotta figure that out, I guess, before they're allowed to start brewing. Um, so it was a dry Irish stout kind of day. They only had it on CO2. They're having trouble with their nitro, so I drank it on CO2, and it was delicious. It was really good. So get out there and try those. Yeah, I've had some good beers this week. This seltzer is surprisingly freaking delicious. Go figure. Who knew that a seltzer would eventually be delicious? When the whole seltzer thing started happening, I definitely did not think that I would be the person that would just sit around and drink one. Julia said sledgehammer and a Home Depot bucket, both problems solved. I mean, there should be like a trench drain too. Like you can just use that, right? All right. So I guess that about does it for us. Once again, if you haven't taken the survey, please do. Please help me out. Go to thegnarlygnome.com/survey, and you can tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. But what I'm doing wrong, I think, is probably more valuable to me. And if you don't listen to one of the podcasts, put that on there that you don't listen to it. And maybe tell me what I could do that would make you listen to it. Or if you don't watch things on YouTube, tell me why. Whatever. I have been terrible lately with this show making it to the podcast feed. It seems like every night, every Monday night, when I wrap up the show, when I used to then put the audio feed up, I'm tired. I'm like, I'll just do it in the morning, and then I just don't do it. So there's like 3 weeks that need uploaded. So if you do, I guess if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, I did it. But if you're listening to this via the video show, and you normally listen to the audio, it'll pop up here. You'll get just a whole string of them one day, all at the same time. So sorry about that. It is never intentional when I screw things up. That's not true. Sometimes it is intentional, but sometimes life just gets in the way, and hopefully everybody understands that. Hopefully. I'm learning from the survey that not everybody understands it. There are definitely some people that are very grumpy about a few things, which some of them are very valid. Some of them are not. I love it. But I do appreciate it. Anybody that's taking the time to fill out the survey. So thank you. And if you really like the things that I do, you know that you can also go to thegnarlygnome.com/support. If you do that, if you're one of the gnomies, I promise there is a box of stuff coming your way here very soon. Who knows if it'll be before the holidays. It probably won't be. It'll probably be first thing after the new year once I can finally get some glassware finished and ordered and get some other stuff coming for you. You will get some fun stuff in this one that other people don't get, and you will also get the first look at the first merch drop of next year in your box. So stay tuned for that. It's some good stuff. It's some fun stuff. I've been working really hard on a lot of things. I know it doesn't always look like it, but I'm always working hard on something. Sometimes it's stupid things. I spent last night, I believe it ended up being about 3 hours just redoing the brewery chart on the website. I don't know if anybody is aware of actually. Well, I'm not going to pull it up. You guys know what it looks like. It used to be 2 columns on the chart. Now it's 1 column, and it took me 3 hours to get all of that moved over and changed. I also changed how the hours are displayed, so I had to go and enter all of that again. So in theory, all of the hours for every brewery is up to date. That's not true. I saw somebody today change theirs, and I have a note to update it on there. I don't remember who it was, but there's one that's out of date. I just updated it yesterday. It's a lot of work. I also I pulled Mash Cult back off of the list because they have not put a new beer on tap since August, and I'm pretty sure he is now brewing elsewhere in town, and I think that means he's not brewing a Mash Cult anymore. So I don't know. It's hard to keep up with some of that stuff without like contacting people and getting them to actually respond to you and be like, hey, what's going on with this? Some of that stuff is difficult. There are some breweries that are really great where anytime they change something, they send me a text or an email and be like, hey, just so you know, we're changing our Sunday hours if you want to change it on your website. That's so helpful, and I wish everybody would do that. I understand that not everybody's going to do that, but it's helpful, and I just want people to know that. It saves me so much time and effort, and it keeps things as up-to-date as I can possibly keep it. Julia says, I was just looking at it the other day. Yeah, please keep using it. The idea is for it to be a little faster and easier to use on mobile. That's the idea, at least. I use it all the time. If I'm out and I'm like, oh, I want to go grab a beer somewhere. Who's open today? Who's open at this time? The map is back up to being completely up to date. There's a brewery map. I need to actually put that in a couple different places on the website so that it's easier to get to. But the brewery map is well, that's not true because I think Mash Cult's on there. So never mind. Nothing's up to date. I need to go fix everything. It's the story of my life, you guys. It's just always chaos. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. We'll keep doing this thing, and we'll keep tweaking it. We'll keep improving it. We'll hopefully keep improving it. But without you guys telling me what you want, you're just gonna get things that I want to do, and sometimes that's fun. Sometimes it's not. So do the survey. Help me. Cheers, everybody. Have a good night. For anybody who finds themselves down at Dark Charge this weekend, if you see me, come say hi, please. Come over and say hi, and we'll take a selfie together and probably drink a beer together because I guess that's what you do on Dark Charge Day, right? Drink beer and take selfies.